Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This is year number 2 of the Stardew Valley Mega Modded run, and I would highly recommend watching the first 100 days if you haven't already. As mentioned before at the end of the last year, priority number 1 for the next 100 days is of course to complete the community center. This is easier said than done, since the only thing that is missing is the Book of Stars, and this is one of the few items that is completely luck dependent on getting. But my best chance is doing the raccoon requests, so that's what I'm gonna focus on. Goal number 2 is to set up my Ginger Island farm, but again, that can only happen after I'm done with the community center. And finally, I want to progress the Ridge storyline that we started last year. And yeah, that's the goals I have for this episode. Without further ado, sit back, relax, maybe grab a snack, and enjoy the video. We're back on beautiful Moonlight Farm where Kent introduced himself. Kimboy also stopped by to let me know that Nightingale Orchard has even more fruit saplings for sale now. When letting my animals outside, I realized I forgot to plant some grass for them. Already off to a good start. As per usual, when the season changes, I prepped the field for new seeds, made my way into town after that, where I saw Richard on Lenny, who picked up an old friend from the bus stop. This is Naomi, Shiro's and Yuma's mom. She's been working in a different city together with her husband to support their children with enough money. Don't think I mentioned this before, but Shiro had an accident during his military service, which left him physically disabled, so I assume that's why his parents are working overseas. Since Naomi is back in Ridgeside now, she'll be working in a log cabin hotel as an event planner. At the special order board, I accepted Pierre's prime produce and bought a whole lot of seeds over at Joja. Mostly cauliflower, but I bought a few of every kind since I like a colorful field. Later in the evening, I went over to Ridgeside, where I had another cutscene, meeting another new person. This is Bryle. He works as a security guard for the governor, and he's good friends with Jarek. I thought at first that he was the ex-boyfriend of Faye, since they're always having an argument, but no, they just don't like each other, so that's cool I guess. Anyways, I was here to give Torts a birthday present. I went back to the Joja Mart where I wanted to buy grass starters, but forgot they don't sell them here. When leaving the building, I had the infamous cutscene with Lewis and Marnie, where they were discussing their relationship. I wanted to skip this at first, since, well, I've seen it a million times, but I have a mod installed that gives me a new option to choose from. I told them that everyone would be very happy for them if they would make their relationship public. I never understood why Lewis is so secretive about this anyways. Earlier in the morning, I collected my first bigger batch of starfruit wine, which got sold for a hefty chunk of gold that day. Tuesday morning, I had more people waiting outside my door. Just love when that happens. Naomi was here to let me know that the hotel expansion had been finished. I didn't even know they were renovating. There's also a brand new cafe in the hotel lobby that will be managed by Malaya, where I can buy new recipes and of course new dishes. After Naomi left, I had another chat with Lewis and Marnie. Long story short, they are ready to announce their relationship to the town. And then Lewis just disappeared before my very own eyes. I guess he couldn't handle the pressure after all. The big shed constructions were done, so I relocated all the kegs inside in a new building. And since I have the Automate mod, I don't have to worry about the layout this time. Thanks to the wine I sold yesterday, I had more than enough money to buy the final house upgrade from Robin. In town I saw Lewis and Marnie again announcing their relationship in front of everyone in Pelican Town. I think at least that's what happened, the cutscene just faded out in the middle of it. Over at Pierre's I bought a bunch of grass starters for the animal area, then was looking for more cursed artifacts in the Ridge. I found 2 prismatic shards while there, just laying around, crazy. Dropped off the items that I found so far in Gio's house, and now I'm only missing 1 more. The last artifact only spawns after 6 PM, so I waited it out, though I had no luck finding it that day. However, I did get my very first trinket from killing the enemies on my way out, and it's a good one as well. The magic quiver is one of my favorites. While it does have a very irritating sound, it's way too good not to use. 115 I gifted Lunna a void egg for a brick day, bought another 4 pigs at Marnie's, Lancy eggs, 40 sacks, Zenith eggs, and Placido sacks. Why yes, I have a slight obsession with Elden Ring, why do you ask? When looking for spring onions, I came across Andy, who was also foraging in the area. We took a break and relaxed at the nearby waterfalls, where I had a very sweet conversation with him. He said he used to be a bit jealous of Moonlight Farm, considering I had 0 farming experience when I first arrived, yet the farm is thriving. I mean, this is like my 10th playthrough, but he doesn't know that. And that he's proud of me. Thanks, Andy! Doesn't make up for the time when you trash talked about Hatmos over there, but his heart is in the right place. I spent some time cleaning up the path that leads to the secret woods area from my farm, and later in the evening I went back to the rich forest, where I finally found the last cursed artifact, the Night Black Diamond. I dropped it off at the box in the ninja house and was tasked to return tomorrow for further instructions. The following day I met Sophia on my way into town, and she was crying. She did say hello to me, but quickly went back home. I wanted to check up on her to see if she was alright, so I followed her to the vineyard. At first she didn't seem like she wanted company, but then asked if I'd like to watch anime. I mean, who doesn't? So I stayed for a little while and we watched together on her TV. After that I went straight back to the ninja house, only to find a message on the door telling me to come back tomorrow. Again. Since I was already in the area, I purchased more deluxe speedgirl from Lorenzo, then had a look inside the log cabin hotel to check out the new bakery that Naomi was talking about. I bought a few of the cooking recipes as well, since I need to get started on that sooner or later anyways. Then cleared out the quarry later, because I was kinda bored and didn't know what else to do. On Friday I saw that Robin was done with the cellar construction, meaning I have access to casks now. Had my first garlic harvest. The raccoon already found himself a wife, and I checked the second request from him. This time he wants some dried cactus fruit, so I headed over to Pierre's and bought the dehydrator crafting recipe from him. I was back in Ridgeside after that, where I had a chat with Carmen. I finished a request for her a while ago, and as a way of saying thanks, she shared one of her family secrets with me. Now Ridgeside fish will sell for double the price, which is pretty damn good. I cleaned up the fiber next to the cable car entrance when I noticed there was a hatch that I could interact with. Down there was a whole new area that I've never seen before. Upon clicking on the boulder, it says that this is unimplemented future content. Very excited to see what they're gonna do down here. After 8 PM, I stopped by the rich forest where I came across a new face, Belinda. She's the seer for the red-tailed lady, and she's here to find the spirit realm and to cleanse it from the spiritual corruption. She thanked me for finding all the cursed artifacts around the ridge, and I had to do all of this alone since apparently I am the only one who can read anything written inside that book. I followed her to the ninja house where Bliss, Daya, and Gio showed up as well. They all had different kinds of relics with them that they gave over to Belinda. Together with those and the cursed artifacts that I gathered, Belinda threw them on the ground and performed some sort of ritual. I'm getting a whole lot of red flags from this. The screen turned red, and all of a sudden the items disappeared in thin air. Well, whatever she tried to achieve, it didn't work out. Belinda was furious when all of a sudden a voice appeared, saying that the portal was unstable and that it would have consumed all of us together. Excuse me? I didn't sign up for any of this. Belinda cursed out the spirit's name, which I'm not even gonna try to pronounce. There's a whole lot of back and forth between those two, but the short of it is, the spirit needs to be unsealed to be able to speak to Belinda in person, and if she refuses to do so, she will always try to stop Belinda from opening the spirit realm, as it is simply too dangerous to do alone. The voice disappeared shortly after, and Bliss asked who the voice belonged to. Turns out, it's Belinda's beloved, someone she cares about deeply. The next step is to unseal the spirit, and I was also tasked to help with this, as according to Belinda, the spirit was a very close friend of my grandmother. I know this was like a huge lore dump, but this is like my favorite part about the Ridgeside expansions, so I don't want to leave any of this out. The next morning I helped Pika around the restaurant since Corin didn't have any time today. Then I was once again back in the forest. Belinda explained to me that in order to free the spirit, I need to appease the crystals of the mountain. There are multiple of these scattered around the area, and I have to offer certain items to them. The crystals will only accept objects that resonates with them. These are usually items that have the same color as the corresponding crystal. It's kinda like that one Mr. Chi quest where you have to donate 100 items of the same color. I have to offer 30 items to 7 different crystals, and since I'm really interested in the storyline, I made that my task for today. Thankfully I'm kind of a hoarder when playing Stardew Valley, so most of the colors were pretty easy to deal with. Salmon berries for the red crystal, Jojo Cola for the blue one, moss for the color green, sap for yellow, and maple seed for orange. Grey and purple was a bit more tricky, so I had to return back to the farm and look at more options. The grey one was finished with a few slime balls, and for purple I actually sacrificed some of my iridium ore. In hindsight, I should have just used more of my purple flowers, but it's whatever. Upon finishing the last crystal, the voice appeared again, thanking me for my efforts and to come back again tomorrow. But I actually had other plans that day. I brought the dried cactus fruit and the cherry jelly to the raccoon, finishing another request for him, and for that he rewarded me with the raccoon's journal. When picking up the truffles from the piggies, I got jump scared by a truffle crab. Every time this gets me. Being a Sunday and a very good luck day, I took the bus over to the desert, traded my jade for staircases, spent all of my money on starfruit seeds, and ventured down into the skull cavern. I found 2 treasure floors, one with a purple slime egg and the other with another seed maker. Can never have too many of those. I acquired my second trinket that day, the berry box, and it's already at level 4, which is really nice, though unfortunately I'm not a fairy box enjoyer, at least not with this setup, so I'm gonna keep my magic quiver on for now. The following day I harvested the starfruit in a greenhouse, removed the old soil with the cheap fertilizer, hoed the ground once again, and planted a bunch of ancient seed with deluxe speed growth fertilizer. I'm well aware that starfruit wine is a bit more profitable than ancient fruit, but then I would also have to replant the starfruit all the time, and I just cannot be bothered with that. Ancient fruit takes a very long time to grow, but after the first harvest it will keep reproducing every 7 days, which is great for lazy people like me. Also crafted another 20 kegs for the shed. I collected the last gold quality vegetable for PS Prime produce on 121, dropped everything off at the store, and finished another special request. I accepted the charity wishlist from Maeve, where I need to gather a whole bunch of milk, eggs and wool, though I'm not quite sure if I can actually finish this one on time. I gave Anton a birthday present, harvested the starfruit in a greenhouse, chopped down every single tree in the nearby area, and after 8 I was once again back in the Ridge Forest, where Belinda and Bliss were already waiting for me. Belinda still had all of the cursed artifacts from the last attempt and formed them together to perform another ritual. This time it was more successful. We followed Belinda into the newly opened up area where I got introduced to Reiyala? Reiyala, is that how you say it? I'm just gonna call her Ray from now on. She's the mountain spirit, or the red-tailed lady as Belinda described her. Once again, this is a rather long cutscene, so I'm gonna try my best to summarize everything quickly. As Belinda mentioned the other day, Ray used to be a very close friend of my grandma. Back when both my grandparents were alive, the valley lived in peace and harmony, until the day the corruption started to appear around the mountains, which was caused by an evil entity named Gabriella. She goes on to explain that the corruption used to be manageable until it reached the spirit realm, the place Belinda has been trying to reach before. Both Ray and the Seer cannot enter the spirit realm without any serious repercussions towards the real world. Actually, Belinda used to be a corrupted spirit, and only thanks to Ray, she found her way back once again. Don't know what any of that means, but once again, I'm getting a whole lot of red flags from this conversation. So back to my grandmother. Like my grandpa and myself, she had a connection to the spirits, meaning she was able to enter the corrupted realm without getting lost. She ventured into the spirit world, did something, according to Ray, which seemed to stabilize the corruption and maintain it once more in the human world. But when my grandpa returned from the spirit realm, she was unconscious and fell victim to a curse. And a few seasons later, she unfortunately passed away. And now Ray and Belinda want to finish what my grandmother started all those years ago. Look, I played Terraria before. I know a thing or two about corruption, so you're in good hands. Sort of. Just like before, we need the appropriate relics in order to power up a proper portal for the spirit realm, which once collected need to be placed on these pedestals that surround us. Now I have the Ridge Falls location unlocked, and I can also offer items to Ray for different blessings, which is a very neat mechanic, but I'm actually never gonna use, at least not this year. Vincent got a grave for his birthday, accepted Emily's rock rejuvenation quest, got 4 bee houses from a ticket machine, and then I was in the mood for more skull cavern shenanigans. And I was super happy I came here because on floor 36, a serpent dropped my beloved parrot egg. And of course I have a cosmetic mod for that as well. After a good 5 minutes of back and forth between the mod configuration menu, I settled on the one with the white skin. I love him to bits, he's so cute. Also I reached my 2nd mastery level that day and decided on the farming mastery, mainly because of the iridium scythe. On 123 I bought 2 sheeps from Marnie's, Sif and Artorias. And while there, might as well also buy the animal catalog since Marnie doesn't work all week around. I handed Emily the crystals for her rock rejuvenation ceremony, which is by far the easiest quest for the special order board. I had a peek at the blessed artifact list in the ninja house. These are scattered around Ridgeside and not the forest this time. Luckily, I still remember most of the locations from my last modded run. The music box is hidden behind this painting in the hotel, the hero trophy by fishing in the well, the Everfrost zone from Nightingale Orchard, the elven camp next to this abandoned house on the hike trail, the spirit statue behind the bench near the lookout, an opal halo next to the cable car, and the sapphire pearl by Tortoise Pond. That's the ones that I know of, so for the remaining ones I have to check the book again. On Friday I got the sewing machine from Emily for finishing her request. I put my first ancient fruit and starfruit wine for aging down in the basement, and while at it, crafted another 30 more casks. Purchased a horse book, which lets me run a tiny bit faster while on roach, handed Ezekiel a birthday present, then tried to catch the legend at the mountain lake. The first time he got away, but on my second attempt I reeled it in. That's one legendary fish down, and so many more to go, as of course Ridgeside also has their own category of legendary fish, as well as the expanded mod. With the legend in my possession now, I of course had to build another pond. If you didn't know, we can now place legendary fish inside fish ponds, thanks to the 1.6 update, and the aged roe sells for a nice chunk of money, and I like having money. Later in the afternoon, I stopped by the Amethyst mansion where I came across Irene. She was working on a new dish and asked if I wanted to help out and taste test with her. I told her that the food was delicious, and she mentioned that she's perfecting her skills because she wants to impress Zane, Louis' older brother, who I haven't even met yet. He visits the town from time to time, and she's been having a crush on him ever since they first met years ago. That actually makes me wonder when I do finally get to meet him. Day 125, I tested out the Iridium scythe for the first time, and this never gets boring. It's so satisfying to use. Being the 13th, it was the annual Egg Festival, and I completely missed this last year, but Ridgeside has its own area up here. Very cute. I bought the plush bunny, 2 lawn flamingos, and of course a bunch of strawberry seeds from the stall. Then it was time for the egg hunt. This time I managed to collect 10 eggs in total, and if you're wondering why I'm not skipping the festival to do more productive things, it's because of the sweet prize ticket you get from winning after the first year. So worth it. The following morning, my fixer eel pond blessed me with 4 battery packs. That's huge. Upon visiting the raccoon, I saw that he already had a baby. Boy, you guys really don't waste any time, do you? Which means he had a new request for me. This time consisting of dried mushrooms and white algae. I opened a few mystery boxes at Clint's, which contained a golden pumpkin. I'll come back to that in a bit on why that's important. I already had both of the items for the raccoon, so I dropped those off, then put the batteries, hardwood and stone inside Grandpa's shed. Still missing quite a bit of iron, so I'll have to go to the mines again soon. I was back at the Amethyst house later to hand Maeve a birthday gift, where I finally got to meet Zane. And I have to admit, I can see why Irene has a crush on this guy. Now back to that golden pumpkin I got earlier. I wanted to try out a few different hats, and thanks to the sewing machine I got from Emily, I tailored the witch hat. It didn't really match my outfit, and I wanted to change the colors over at the shrine at the wizard basement, but unfortunately you cannot do that for some reason. You can change everything else except your clothes, so I had to tailor my own. Also, I learned that day that you can dye clothes by using different items. In my case, I used coal to turn my skirt black. Even after all these years of playing, I'm still learning new things about this game. I tried around for a little while. I was going for a witchy vibe, but I just couldn't quite get there. So I'll be keeping my default outfit on, for now at least. The next day I put the legend inside the newly constructed pond. I finished a request for Jody, which not only earned me another prize ticket, but also the beloved Farmer achievement for reaching 10 hearts with 8 different people. The prize ticket I traded in for 1 magic rock candy, which I'm gonna need very soon, as it is the first day of the Desert Festival. My favorite new event. I got a free cactus from the Cactus Man. Look at him, he's adorable. Of course I had to try out Emily's outfit service since I am really craving a new look. And I think she was kinda cooking. This could definitely work. I accepted Marlon's monster hunt for a few easy eggs, munched down on my magic rock candy, and almost forgot about the chef. This guy gives you 1 free meal per day, and they stack with everything you ate before, so it's pretty important to get this. I got the ice rod not too long after entering, which I'm gonna keep on for now as it's more handy than the parrot down here. On floor 64 I returned back to the surface, showed Jill my egg rating, which landed me another 200 eggs, bumping it up to a total count of 471. Not too bad for the first day. He also gave me Jill's hat, which fits perfectly with my new outfit. I'm really enjoying the new look. 128, I picked up another 3 battery packs from the eel pond. After taking care of my daily farm chores, I went back to the desert festival. Once again I was back inside Emily's shoebox for another outfit change. Since these are free to do, there's no reason to never do these. But today's outfit, yeah, wasn't really my thing. I'll be keeping the one on from yesterday. Shane was at the festival stall that day, which I was very delighted about because he has the chicken decal on sale, which is one of my favorite new wall pieces. George was the second person to set up shop, and from him I got 5 artifact troves. Ordered a warrior smoothie from the chef and descended down into the cavern in search for more eggs. I found a treasure floor with 2 iridium sprinklers, super nice. I had to return a bit earlier today as I forgot to bring any food with me, and after getting my egg rating again from Jill, I ended up with over 700 eggs. And for the last time this year, I was back on Wednesday morning, waiting for the festival to open. This time Emily transformed me into a Greek goddess? Unfortunately, I had Harvey and Alex as vendors today, which is fine, but they don't have that many interesting items on display. I did get the radio desk and model planes, but I don't think I'm gonna use these items since I have so many furniture mods installed. Being the final day of the festival, I knew I had to get rid of the eggs, since they'll disappear after the event is over, so I got 1 magic rock candy, 5 lucky lunch, all the mystery boxes, and the rest went into mega bombs. After that I picked up my new iridium hoe from Clint, which I forgot to mention before. While there I opened the treasure troves and mystery boxes, from which I got the mystery hat and even the Book of Mysteries. For a split second I thought this was the Book of Stars, but it's still a good find nonetheless. 130 and 131 were spent in the Recolor mines gathering iron ore. Really, that's all I did. So we're skipping ahead to Saturday, where I dumped in the remaining 41 iron bars into the box, and hopefully Robin will repair the shed soon. And speaking about Robin, I requested a 3rd pawn from her after that. The rest of the day was spent on the farm, staring into the void for a little while as I was trying to figure out how I want to keep designing the area. I really need to get more sprinklers going, and for that I had to move the tree area. So I picked up a bunch of tree fertilizer from Nightingale Orchard and also bought all the new fruit saplings from there, as I really want to have a lot of them scattered around the farm. And purchased the rest of the vanilla ones that I was missing from pears. These got planted in a greenhouse. I crafted 28 more kegs for the wine shed, started to remove the old tree farm area. I really wish there was a faster way of getting rid of paths, which got located over to the new spot. The following morning I had Robin outside my door, letting me know that she will start on the shed repairs the very same day. I got the mini shipping bin in my mailbox for finishing Pierre's request the other day, reached the 3rd mastery level when I picked up the row from the ponds. I thought about this for a minute and decided to go with the foraging mastery, mainly for the golden mystery boxes, since they also have a chance of containing the Book of Stars. Remember, I still haven't finished the community center. The raccoon had another request ready for me, and then I was busy on the farm again. I finished the new tree layout, found another area located next to the fruit bat cave entrance where I came across a meteorite and a giant cauliflower. I had a look inside my newly refurbished shed the next day. It's basically a second greenhouse and cellar. Yep, I can put casks in here, which is super nice. When visiting Ridgeside, I bumped into Maeve, and I'm shocked to say this, but I actually had a really pleasant conversation with her. She used to be close friends with my grandparents, like every second person it seems, and that she's proud of my accomplishments at Moonlight Farm. I was up here to gather the final 2 blessed artifacts for Ray, or at least that's what I wanted to do. The fox mask required me to stand in front of this altar for 2 in-game hours, so that was rather easy. However, the other one, not so much. As you can see from this drawing, I need to pour water over this statue, and I thought it was the one that is right outside the ninja house, but it's not. Turns out there is a second one of these, which is located in a building I haven't even entered before. There is in fact a second greenhouse located on the hike trail, which you might have noticed already from previous foraging runs I did. A while ago I had a cutscene with Bliss, which I didn't bother showing because I didn't think it was important, where she told me to come visit the building after midnight, which I of course immediately forgot about, and yeah, the statue I need to water is located in there. To kill time, I was busy in the community greenhouse. Now that I finally have batteries to spare, I crafted iridium sprinklers, which I swapped out with the regular ones. After midnight I returned to the hike trail and I could enter the building now. Inside I heard a strange voice talking to me, telling me to stay and that it doesn't want to be alone. Then I felt drowsy and suddenly got transported back home. That's not worrying at all. The Fixoil pond was so worth it, by the way. I collected another 4 batteries today. Fish ponds truly are underrated. At the special order board I accepted Susan's homemade fertilizer request, went back to the hike trail where Bliss was waiting for me. She told me that the structure is cursed, trapped between the spirit realm and real world, and there's a lone entity residing inside it. That's really cool and all, but really I'm just interested in the statue inside. Then she said to come back after midnight again. Since I didn't know what else to do, I fished by the river to get started on Susan's request, as I need quite a lot of fish for the quality fertilizer. Also I planted more ancient seed in the community greenhouse. It's coming along very nicely. And once again, after midnight I was back at the hike trail. The voice told me that a man and lady trapped them inside this building because of a challenge they couldn't complete, and that maybe I could help them out if I were to finish the request. This updated my journal with a new quest, but again, I really didn't care about this at the moment. I was just here for the artifact. Wednesday was the flower dance. I bought the rare crow and top of flower crafting recipe, along with some new decorations from Pierce. This time I asked Ian to be my dance partner. Well, actually I wanted to ask Gio, but he refused to talk with me. Also, I love how the bird is in every single cutscenes. It just makes them so much better. On day number 137, I handed the raccoon the carrot juice and pickled cauliflower, completing another request for him. The bookseller was back in town that day, and as you can see, he had new wares in stock. This is thanks to Button's extra books, which adds 15 brand new books to the game. I bought The Way of the Wind Part 2 and Beginner's Luck, which permanently increases my luck stat by a tiny amount. I dropped off the 50 homemade fertilizer at Susan's house and then made my way to the Ridge Falls. I was here to put the blessed artifacts on the pedestals. Upon placing the last one, Ray, Belinda and the other members appeared before me. They thanked me for my efforts, and shortly after, Belinda and Ray opened the portal to the spirit realm. The portal was so powerful that it glitched out the artifacts and duplicated them. Now that the portal is open, it is up to me to cleanse the realm. Ray explained to me that it can be tricky to navigate inside, and there are various crystals that can teleport me to different locations. My job is to extinguish 5 purple flames in order to cleanse the corruption, and of course to stay alive, as there's going to be tons of enemies in there as well. After the cutscene ended, I quickly had to rush back home because I forgot to bring food with me. But now it is finally time to enter the spirit realm. This was incredibly stressful. There was absolutely no time to stop and marvel at the scenery, as I got immediately swarmed by Gabriella's minions. Not only are there so many monsters in here, but navigating the teleporters was trickier than I remember. I did manage to find 4 out of the 5 purple flames, but I did have to return after finding the 4th one, as I got debuffed by a ghost and I had almost no food left. Yeah, I know, a bit anticlimactic. But I did go straight back to the spirit world the very next morning, found the last purple flame, and with that, cleansed the realm that has been corrupted for so many years. Everyone was already waiting for me back in the real world and congratulated me on cleansing the spirit realm. There was some sort of earthquake, and Ray mentioned that the summit finally showed itself after all this time. There's even a farm up there, which I am very excited to check out later. Much later. So why did I rush to finish this questline so quickly? Well, because of Gio and Daya. Mainly for Gio, I don't really care for Daya. These 2 are special NPCs that are tied to Belinda's questline, and can only be romanced after getting rid of the corruption, and as per usual when I do a 100 days series, I had a poll up on my channel asking you guys who I should romance. And to my absolute surprise, you guys voted for Gio. He's one of my favorite characters anyways, but I was definitely surprised about the poll. On Saturday I harvested my ancient fruit, commissioned a second coop upgrade from Robin, then started a Mr. Cheese quest, which I totally forgot about up until this point. By putting a battery inside the box in the tunnel, bought 10 beads from Sandy's, is what I would have said if she was actually working here, so never mind that. When visiting the train station, I came across Susan, who thanked me for all of the fertilizer I brought to her the other day. For that she showed me a new fermentation method, which makes beer, mead and pale ale more valuable. I dropped off the rainbow shell, then was busy at the farm for the rest of the day. On the last day of spring, I had a giant cauliflower sprout on my field. that's definitely staying. This time Sandy was working, so I bought the beet seeds as well as some starfruit for summer. I relaxed at the Ridge Falls and did some fishing. I caught a bluegill, golden rosefin, fairytale lionfish, and found my first golden animal cracker in a treasure chest. I went to bed shortly after and was pleased to see all the money I made from the truffles and ancient fruit wine that day. It is the very first day of summer, and as per usual, I was busy with setting up the field. This took the entire day because I also removed the old quality sprinklers and swapped them out with iridium ones. I planted a whole bunch of melons, butternut squash, blueberries, and I got reminded I should really upgrade my watering can again. Tuesday to Wednesday was spent entirely in the Recolor mines, gathering copper and iron ore. This allowed me to craft another 50 kegs. I also finally had enough solar essence to make a second iridium band, and lastly crafted 30 casks for the basement. It's almost completely full now. I visited Clint, where I commissioned an iridium watering can, opened the geodes and mystery boxes I've been hoarding so far, which gave me a few new items to donate. The mineral section is looking pretty good so far, but the artifacts on the other hand, not so much. Still missing quite a few of those. I moved the fish ponds next to the tree farm area, and while at the carpenter requested another pond construction. The green rain poured down at the valley on day 145. The raccoon had his 5th request ready this time, and he wants... a rusty spoon? Really? Same as last year, the day was spent clearing out the cindersap forest for moss, wood, and lots of fiber. In town I accepted Clint's cave patrol quest, and I gotta say, Pelican Town is looking wild during the green rain event. It looks like a completely different place. And before heading back home, I caught the crimson fish down by the beach. The next day started off with a glorious ancient fruit harvest in the greenhouse. Have I ever mentioned how satisfying it is to use the iridium scythe? Because it sure is. I handed Martin a birthday present and then checked my chests for the requested items the raccoon wanted. And surprisingly, I did have a spare rusty spoon laying around. Good thing I'm a hoarder in this game. I dropped off the items, and for that, he gifted me a jungle tank. How am I even holding this thing? I was back in the mines that day, but not for too long, as I was just here to slay 50 dust sprites for Clint's special order. Later I stopped by the community greenhouse where I harvested the beets, which I dropped off at Louis' fridge the following morning. The last step from Mr. Cheese quest was to feed the sand dragon 1 solar essence, and with that, acquired the club card. Now I was allowed to enter the casino, and it was a good luck day anyways, so the perfect time to come here. And lucky I was. I hit the jackpot at the slot machine where I got 3 star drops, earning me a ridiculous amount of G coins. I got the statue of treasure and the rare crow from the shop, and that's about it. I don't plan on making another hatchet, at least not right now. Day 148 I received the deluxe eagle scarecrow crafting recipe, meaning that I have collected all 8 rare crows. I prepped for a skull cavern run, and while waiting for Pam to arrive, I quickly stopped by the ninja house to give Gio a present and saw my first heart event with him. Despite me helping them restore the spirit realm, I don't know why I say helping, I did all of that alone, he still doesn't trust me. I am just a stranger who appeared in the valley at a very convenient time. Fair enough, I guess? I dropped off the gift and went to the desert. On floor 32, a dinosaur dropped a frog egg, and it's a void one as well. Pretty good find, though I need all of the monster loot myself at the moment, so I won't be using it. And 5 floors later, I got the infamous lucky ring from a random crate. I cannot even remotely describe to you how happy I was in that very moment. Holy moly, what a find. And it gets even better. I reached my 4th mastery level a few hours later, and I made it all the way down to floor 100, just in time. Mr. Chi was already waiting for me together with his pet snakes. He congratulated me on making it down here, and I was very proud of me myself, as I think I only used a total of 6 staircases. That's a new personal record for sure. I drank the iridium snake milk, which permanently increases my health, and then quickly teleported back home, where I made it to bed before passing out. The next morning I crafted the Statue of Blessing, unlocked the Mining Mastery, then rode to the Joja Mart where I had a look at the bookseller, and I am very happy to say he finally had the Book of Stars in store. At last I can finish the community center. I immediately headed over to the building and donated it to the Enchanter's Bundle. The Junimos said their goodbyes and returned to the Spirit Realm. Now we can start on the boat repairs for Ginger Island. After that I picked up my new watering can from Clint, accepted the biome balance request from Demetrius, and lastly, I crafted the statue of the Dwarf King for those sweet mining related buffs I can get each day. Upon walking into town the following morning, I saw that everyone gathered at the restored community center and celebrated. I played through this game so many times by now, but I will never get tired of seeing this cutscene. Pierre and Morris had their standoff, and this time I said, let's settle this the old-fashioned way. And they actually had a brawl. Is this also new, or one of the mods doing, because I have no idea. Morris got sent into space, and with that, the Joja Mart is now closed. Guess I'll have to buy my seeds from Pierce going forward. After the celebration, I came across the wizard near the railroad track. He told me about his ex-wife, and that she stole his magic ink, which he desperately needs back. I don't think I need to show all of this, so right after I visited Krobus, where I got the Dark Talisman from the sewers, and while there, caught a Snatcher Worm, Water Grub, and Slimejack. Went back to the railroad, and when entering the lair, I got teleported to a whole new swamp area which I've never seen before. There were lots of new forage and enemies around. I was struggling for quite a bit navigating through the maze, but eventually I found the witch's hut. I gave the henchman the void mail, which allowed me to enter the building and retrieved the magic ink. Magnus thanked me for my efforts, and now I have access to the obelisks, Junimo huts, and of course the ever so expensive golden clock. Day 151, I got a whole bunch of new cooking recipes in the meal, but also a letter from the henchman? Because I took the magic ink yesterday, he lost his job and is now homeless. I have to help him out, or else... what? I have no intentions of going back to that area anytime soon, so I guess he'll have to wait. I made my way into town, where I came across Claire. Now that the community center is restored, the Joja Mart has shut down, but no one told her about that. I forgot you need to have at least 6 hearts with her before finishing the community center, otherwise she will leave, so... oops. Today was the Luau festival, and I did think about skipping the event, but the friendship points you get are way too good, and this is gonna save me some time later on when befriending everyone. The next day I visited Willie's shop, where he showed me his dad's old fishing boat. I already had all the materials for the repairs, 5 batteries, 5 iridium bars, and 200 pieces of hardwood. I am eager to finally explore Ginger Island. Most of the day was spent fishing in Pelican Town for Demetrius' Biome Balance quest, which I finished in the late afternoon. Then put 1 iridium sprinkler inside Grandpa's shed and planted 5 sweet gemberries and 1 ancient fiber seed. After going to bed, I saw that the Joja Mart got struck by lightning, meaning that I can already start on a missing bundle. The raccoon had a new request for me on 153, and I won't be mentioning these anymore unless I get a really good report from him. Over at the Carpenter, I commissioned a deluxe coop upgrade and purchased the greenhouse furniture catalog. I think out of the 3 furniture mods I have installed, this one might be my favorite one. Very happy with the results. Before heading to bed, I checked out the missing bundle, and thankfully this one was unchanged. I saw Robin and Willie repairing the old boat, don't know why this cutscene didn't trigger yesterday, and of course immediately went to Willie the next day and departed on my first of many trips to Ginger Island, getting the Distant Shore achievement. Inside the thick jungle, I met a strange little boy who seemed to be communicating in sort of a bird language. I do not speak bird, though I wish I could. And now it is time to collect golden walnuts. Cue the montage. On the west side of the island, I came across Birdie, who told me about her late husband and that she's looking for his keepsake. She handed me an old photo of him, and with that started the Pirate's Wife quest. I did manage to collect just enough walnuts to be able to construct the island farmhouse. I teleported back to the valley on Monday, where I was pleased to see a giant melon on my farm. I'm getting really lucky with the giant crops. The day was spent on the island farm, clearing out debris and planting more ancient fruit. Unfortunately, I wasn't really paying attention when laying out the new field. I was under the impression that I was still in a greenhouse, so I put down the deluxe speed grow fertilizer on the entire field, even though I only had a bit over 50 ancient fruit seeds to plant, so that was a bit of a waste. Day 156, I completed the missing bundle. Now the last Junimo can also go back home, just like his friends did before. I opened a few treasure troves at the blacksmith, which gave me the treasure appraisal guide and also new artifacts to donate. While strolling around in the Cinesub forest, I came across Krobos with a little Junimo. I wanted to follow them deeper inside the woods, but got lost. Way to go me. I've been running all over town today to finish Birdie's request. Bully gave me the final item, the pirate's locker, which I handed over to Birdie. As a way of saying thanks, she showed me how to create fairy dust. Not so exciting, but she also gave me 5 golden walnuts. I still had a bit of time left that day, so I ventured into the volcano. I did find a couple of more walnuts while there and made it to the top where I saw a new face. This is Lance, a member of the First Slash Guild. Initially I wanted to romance him, but you meet him so incredibly late into the game, and he's also kinda tricky to befriend. My reward for reaching the top is the beautiful volcano forge where I combined my lucky ring with the iridium band. I had Lance visiting my farm on 157, by the way, second giant melon, let's go. He was just here to drop off his schedule, which might sound a bit weird at first, but he's in a different location every single day, and this is gonna be very handy since, again, I need to befriend every single person sooner or later anyways. The wizard also showed up. He let me know that a high-ranking council member took interest in developing my arcane potential and that he's been tasked with teaching me warp magic. Sounds intriguing. I went to his tower right after that, where he brewed a new potion for me. This will allow me to cast warp spells. Now I just need to have a suitable place where I can summon these ruins. We met again north of Moonlight Farm, where Magnus showed me my very own Nexus. I think this might be a Demon Souls reference. Probably not, but I'd like to think it is. Here I can summon warp runes that teleport to different locations, and the first one I created led to the wizard tower. Basically, it's more fast travel points. At this tree in the center will sometimes spawn dewdrop berries, a new forage which are insanely OP. They last an entire day, so I should definitely come here more often. In town I checked out the newly constructed movie theater and bought 2 tickets and invited Gio to see Journey of the Prairie King with me. Also Claire and Martin are back now, working at the counter inside, which they very much enjoy. I grabbed the panzanella salad for Gio and we had a good time together, slowly but steadily getting the friendship points up with him. After the cinema I went back to Ginger Island where I constructed the bridge that leads to the dig site and freed Professor Snail from the cave with a well-placed bomb. I visited his field office and shocker, it was completely empty. My guy has been on this island for several years and you haven't even found anything so far? Absolutely nothing? You and Gunter have a lot in common. Luckily for him, I already had 2 items to donate, which I acquired while being here for just a few hours. Thursday I was back in the volcano, looking for fossils, walnuts and cinder shards. In the evening I panned and fished at the river near the dig site where I found the fossilized tail and spine. Upon teleporting back home, I created my second warp point on the farm. 159, I bought my first Junimo hut from the wizard and then spent the majority of my time working on the field area right in front of the house. It's been bothering me for quite a while now. I crafted 5 heavy furnaces and I think it looks a lot better now. I created a warp point next to the Adventure Guild and while there had a chat with Marlon where we talked about Lance. He has an outpost located in the highlands north from here and Marlon has a smaller boat docked outside that could bring me there. He gave me permission to use his boat, but first I have to do something for him. Marlon wants a bunch of random monster parts, which is easy enough. However, I am in no hurry to explore this area just yet. The following 2 days were spent in the Skull Cavern. I was mostly here for iridium ore, but also to work on a few Monster Slayer goals. I found a second lucky ring, again in a random crate. Holy moly, this is huge. Finished a Slayer goal for mummies and slimes. Found a propeller hat, which I gave to Emma, cuteness overload. I picked up the slime charmer ring and arcane hat from Jill, and with that, created a new outfit. I was in a witchy mood this time. To match my new look, I also changed the skin of my birdie. Now, I am the Witch of the Valley. Monday morning I purchased the big stone chest recipe from the dwarf and then hung around the community center for a little while because it was community day. I'm not quite sure what this event was about. I guess it's just a day where everyone from Pelican Town spends time here, which is very handy for giving out gifts. After that I was in the Cindersap forest cutting down trees, and with that made another 40 casks. The cellar was completely full at this point, so I started to fill in Grandpa's shed as well. Day 163 I purchased the Rattan furniture catalog from Robin and decorated the island farmhouse, because I felt like it and I didn't know what else to do for the day. I think I actually like this one more than the greenhouse catalog. Once I was done with the house, I did a few random chores around the island in hopes of getting more walnuts, but instead I found a second snake vertebra, which I donated along with the snake skull, completing another fossil and earning me 3 walnuts and a mango sapling. I harvested my ancient fruit in the community greenhouse and while doing that, reached my final mastery level. After that I went over to Pierce to purchase fruit saplings which got planted on the island farm. I showed the gourmet frog the melon, wheat and garlic, and for that he gave me 15 golden walnuts, and with those unlocked the island resort. Lastly I enchanted the iridium band with my second lucky ring. Feels good to have my old ring combo back. It was raining the next day on Ginger Island, so I headed out in search for a gem bird. I found him located in the jungle and put the topaz on the pedestal. When I warped back to the valley, I had Lewis waiting for me. He pointed out that I've been producing lots of wine over the past few seasons and that I should consider building a winery. Excuse me? I've never heard about this before. This piqued my interest, so I headed straight over to Robin's, and indeed, she had a new blueprint in stock. For a meager 1 million gold. Sure is expensive, but wine ages 15% faster is pretty good. I'll keep that in mind for sure. At the bookseller I bought Friendship 2.2 and Bus Driving for Dummies. With that I can now drive myself to the desert, meaning that I don't have to wait for Pam anymore. I spent the remaining day on the island farm, where I harvested my starfruit and planted more ancient seeds. On Friday it was raining again, for like the 6th day in a row by the way. I purchased Mother Luke's Speed Crow at heaps, and then I was back in the Cindersap forest gathering wood. And yes, I changed my outfit. Again. I don't know why I'm so indecisive this time, but remember the fashion hat I made a while ago? I really wanted to try and make an outfit for that, and I wasn't really feeling the witchy style anyways. It didn't suit me at all. After playing around for a while with the sewing machine, I came up with a new look, and now I'm finally satisfied. Also, I unlocked the fishing mastery. I almost forgot about that. Completing the mastery cave. While running around in the forest, I came across a warp rune, and upon activating it, I found myself in a brand new forest area. To the left side was a Junimo plaque that read, "Follow the mushrooms." It's another maze, my favorite. The forest was gigantic, and I was struggling to navigate through it for quite a bit. I came across a gravestone that had Elvish language written upon it, which I think is a Lord of the Rings reference, ? I was here for a very long time, but eventually I made it to a little Junimo village. All the huts had different items to sell, where I bought a bunch of artifacts that I haven't been able to find myself. One even sells legendary fish and stuff you unlock from the walnut room. Pretty crazy. It was already late when I came here, so I had to return shortly after and made it back home to avoid passing out. Waking up the following day, I found myself glitching through the fence near Aurora Vineyard, and that I sensed something west of the Cindersap forest. Do I? Now that it is finally not raining anymore, the Junimos were able to work, and I just love watching them do that thing. Keep up the good work, guys. Because I had this strange vision before, I went back to the Aurora Vineyard, where I found another Junimo plaque on the floor. The symbols look vaguely like the language of the Junimos, yet I couldn't make out what it said. I was hoping that the wizard might help me with the translation, so I headed over to his tower. He did his usual wizard things, but unfortunately he was unable to decipher the language. We need a real expert for this. Magnus contacted one of his good friends, with his mind, I guess, and shortly after another wizard arrived. This is where we get introduced to Camilla, a witch from Castle Village. She was able to understand the scroll and translated it for us. A Junimo has taken up residence in the abandoned vineyard and they request 200 starfruits. In this economy? That's outrageous. Camilla left shortly after and Magnus wondered if this is related to my deeds in the community center. I wanted to buy the starfruit seeds from Sandy, but she wasn't working. That didn't annoy me at all. Now that I have the beach resort unlocked, I can venture to the southeast side of the island, where I picked up a few easy walnuts. I caught a stingray inside the pirate cove and then checked out how many walnuts I'm missing to be able to enter the walnut room. And it's actually less I thought than it would be. I've been putting this off for long enough, but in an attempt to gather even more walnuts, I tried my luck with the stupid crystal puzzle. I don't know why, but I struggle with this so much every single time. I kept failing over and over. It's really painful to watch this back, but I kept trying, and eventually I did it. Victory was mine, earning me another 3 walnuts. Sunday morning I had my final summer harvest for this year. I bought the starfruit seeds from Sandy and then ventured into the skull cave, where I hung around until the festival started. I completed another monster slayer goal while there, and later in the evening welcomed the moonlight jellies on the beach together with the rest of Pelican Town. My favorite season is here once again. I did end up removing the second melon from the field because I also want to try and grow a giant pumpkin. Of course I was busy with planting all the new seeds, you know how it goes, and before heading to bed I accepted Louis' crop order where I have to ship 100 pumpkins. Day 170 I gifted Zane a birthday present, and then I was in the volcano where I spent the majority of the day. I brought 10 diamonds with me, which I traded to the dwarf for the Diamond Hunter book, and acquired the well-read achievement for finding every book, the vanilla ones that is. I'm still missing a few of the modded ones. And on Wednesday I was also in the volcano. Today was a bit more exciting as it was a good luck day, and lucky I was. I found an ostrich egg, which is very nice. Now I only need the incubator. I had 2 rare volcano chests on the same floor even. I didn't even know that was possible. I remembered to bring my prismatic shards with me, but not the cinder shards, unfortunately, so I was only able to enchant one of my tools, which was the pickaxe. It got the swift enchantment, which is, yeah, kinda meh, but better than nothing. The next day was raining on the island. I found the second gem bird, and with that was already able to solve the gem bird puzzle, as well as the mermaid puzzle on the beach, which I definitely didn't look up online and figured out all by myself of course, earning me another 5 walnuts. I used 10 of them to build the trading hut. I was kinda hoping he would have golden coconuts, since I haven't found a single one, but he didn't have any either. I thought I collected enough walnuts by now to enter Mr. Chee's secret room, but I was missing one single walnut. I did all sorts of island activities in hopes of getting one, and I did, later in the evening while fishing. I entered the secret room where I met Mr. Chi again and accepted the 4 precious stones quest. Friday morning I went grocery shopping with Gio, or rather for Gio, as he couldn't be bothered to talk with Pierre, which is understandable. I dropped off the monster loot for Marlon, 100 void essence, 80 solar essence, 50 slime, 40 bat wings, and 30 bug meat. I don't know why you would need all of that, but I also don't want to find out. Most of the fruit saplings have fully matured by now, so I started decorating the left side of the farm with paths and lampposts. Day 174 I met with Marlon next to the Adventure Guild, and together we departed on a boat trip to Lance's outpost. It was a very long ride across the river, but eventually we arrived at a brand new forest area. Up the staircase we found Lance, who was already expecting us. Inside the small tower, Lance informed us that he is here in order to conduct research on behalf of his master. The surrounding area is filled with special monsters, and some of them possess seeds with arcane energy. Lance didn't have any luck so far cultivating the monster crops, and that's why he asked us to hunt the different species down and try planting them back at home. I don't know why I say us, it's just for me. Marlon isn't gonna do anything. There are 4 different types of seeds that I can collect, and each of those grow in different seasons. Thank god I already have like 3 different greenhouses at this point. Initiating the monster crop questline. The highland area is kinda similar to the rich forest. Monsters will spawn constantly here, but I came prepared with lots of cheese in my pockets. Upon exploring the area, I came across a cave entrance. Inside I was met with even more enemies. Navigating through the cave further, I found a path that led to a hidden room where I saw a dwarf locked up in a cage. He talked about a terrible monster located on the peak of this mountain that guards the key to his cell along with many treasure it swallowed, and if it touches me, I'll be met with a horrible fate. Am I about to encounter Gore Magala on this mountain? It was already getting late at this point, so the monster will have to wait a bit, but I did manage to collect one of each of the 4 seasonal seeds already, which got planted inside Grandpa's shed. Now I just have to wait for them to mature. It was a very good luck day on 175. I took the opportunity to look for prismatic shards in the Ska Cavern. I found an auto grabber on a treasure floor, even made it to floor 100 again, and left the cave with a total of 5 prismatic shards. Safe to say this was the best run so far. I checked the Junimo hut the next day for the harvest they collected so far and found a book inside, the Junimo scrapbook. Now they have a chance of sending me letters, which is cute, but I'm pretty sure this is a bit buggy because that never happened. I waited very patiently for Robin to open, where once inside, commissioned the winery. This better be the most amazing building I've ever had because I spent almost all of my savings on this. The building is gigantic, it's even bigger than Grandpa's shed, so I didn't know at first where to place it, so for now I put it next to the river. Also I saw that I had a meteor land on the farm. At the bookseller I purchased the Queen of Sauce cookbook and any remaining modded books I haven't collected so far. One of which was The Strongest Brew, which increases my coffee duration. Very handy. I was watching another movie with Gio that day, though I was mainly here for the crane game as I didn't get to use it last time. This bumped me up to 8 hearts with him. After that I gifted him with a bouquet, which he gladly accepted. We're getting serious now. In the late afternoon I made a quick trip over to the island to drop off the prismatic shards, earning me my first 40 G-gems. With that, purchased the key of the town as well as G's notebook. This will help me find random G-gems on my adventures. And while there, already accepted another task, Danger in the Deep quest, because to this day I refuse to play Junimo card. Seriously, who even likes this? Tuesday morning I crafted a tapper for the one mystery tree I planted a while ago, went back to the Junimo woods where I got acquainted with Peaches, who gifted me an ancient Junimo scroll. With that created a new warp point. Now I don't have to go through that awful maze anymore. Then ventured into the dangerous mine to get started on that quest. I found my first radioactive ore and made it to floor 50. And on Wednesday I did the same thing. Don't really have much to say about the dangerous mines. Despite having dangerous in its name, the only real danger here are the ghosts with their debuffs. Other than that, this is very tame compared to the other expanded area we haven't even explored yet. Before midnight I made it all the way down to the final level, earning me the Danger in the Deep achievement. Day 179 I purchased another batch of pumpkin seeds from Pierre's. Made a detour to Ginger Island where I got the horse flute from the walnut shop. I really missed having roach around the island. Hands down, one of the best items you can get. While chopping trees later in the Cindersap forest, I visited Sprite Springs for the first time and created another warp rune. Here I can regain stamina in the water similar to the bathhouse, find different types of forage and even new fish, like this glowfish and meteor carp. Later in town I accepted Olivia's elegant reception as well as the hotel power backup request from Richard. The following morning I collected my first aged starfruit and ancient fruit wine, bought the JoJo catalog from the traveling card, and after that I brought over the items for Olivia's order. This was rather easy as I just had the required materials laying around. 20 bottles of wine, 10 goat cheese and regular cheese. Easy squeezy. Stopped by Krogus for the wizard catalog, and since it was raining I wanted to buy the mermaid pendant from the old marina, but he told me that I wasn't ready for it yet. Now that's just rude. I was working around the pond area for a little while, which I've definitely been neglecting, and after heading to bed I heard the sweet sound of money pouring into my account thanks to the aged wine I sold. Saturday was spent on Ginger Island, cutting weeds in the jungle area where I found the fossilized frog and running through the volcano levels to work on Monster Slayer goals, but also to find cinder shards and walnuts. I enchanted the hoe, which got the archaeologist perk, and the eggs. Same as the pickaxe, it now has the Swift enchantment, which I'm really starting to enjoy more and more, so I might just leave it on after all. I got my hands on 2 golden coconuts today. Finally, was about time. I cracked those open at Clint's, went to the island trader where I traded in 60 coconuts for another 6 golden ones. Rushed back to Clint's where I opened them and got a banana sapling and fossilized skull. Just what I was looking for. I maxed out my friendship level with Gio. Now the marina has to sell the damn pendant to me. I didn't really have anything else to do, so I went back to Clint, a 3rd time, and opened all of the Omni Geodes I've been holding on for now in hopes of getting the last 2 minerals for the museum. I really wish there was a process alt tab, like in Coral Island, that just instantly opens all of your geodes, because my god, this takes forever. After opening over 80 Omni geodes, I did get the missing minerals. Now I only need to work on the artifacts. It was a very exciting day on 183, because Robin was finally done with the winery construction. Yes, this took a whole week. Since the expanded mod got updated so recently, there are currently no Recolor mods for these newer buildings, at least as far as I'm concerned. So it looks a bit out of place at the moment, but it's still a beautiful building nonetheless. Also, giant pumpkin on the field, let's go dude. I spent almost all of my wood to build 40 casks for the winery, went back to Robin where I moved the shed, harvested the starfruit and dropped off 200 of those at the Aurora vineyard. Then just spent the day on the farm, working on another sprinkler layout and also built a second Junimo hut. Tuesday was the Stardew Valley Fair, and I'm not gonna lie, I was not exactly thrilled about it. But I wanted to get the remaining items from the festival stall, and there was even a new recipe that I could get. This time I brought the correct amount of items for the Grange display, and I won first prize again. We meet again, spinning wheel. Now I have to make a formal apology. So I read up on the spinner, and it turns out that none of the mods change anything about the minigames at the fair. At least I couldn't find anything. Which makes sense, because now I won like 8 times in a row. So I must have gotten extremely unlucky when I played last year. I mean really, I thought I was losing my mind. I'm sorry I cursed at you before. I will never doubt you again. Promise. From the festival stall I got the prismatic pop recipe. That sounds delicious by the way. And after gambling a bit more, also this new furniture catalog, which I am very excited to test out later. Next morning I accepted Caroline's Island ingredient quest, where she wants 100 taro root. I don't think that I can do this within the remaining time frame, but I have to try. Now that I have max hearts with Geo, the Marina sold the mermaid pendant to me. Then I had a look inside Aurora Vineyard again, where I encountered a green Junimo. This is Apples. He was the one who requested 200 starfruits from me. Why doesn't he live together with the other Junimos in the village? I have no idea, but he seems to really like this place, so I guess he'll be hanging around for a while. Starting from tomorrow I can actually talk and even befriend Apples. I was kinda excited about this because on my previous modded run I went with the Joja route. Yeah, sue me. And if you help the Joja Mart instead of the community center, you actually never get to meet Apples, so I was looking forward to his cutscenes. I checked how many taro seeds I've collected so far over at the island chests. Unfortunately, it was way too little, so I won't be able to finish Caroline's quest this time. While in the area, I took on Cheese Hungry Challenge, where I have to make it to floor 100 in the Skull Cavern without eating anything. Mined all the bone notes that were at the quarry, where I found the fossilized ribs, and together with the skull, completed the final set for Professor Snail. He was ecstatic about all the new collections, and as a thanks, he showed me how to craft an ostrich incubator, gifted me another banana sapling and more walnuts. The walnuts were spent to unlock the Parrot Express, then went back home to plant more pumpkin seeds, and lastly crafted 35 cakes for the shed. On Thursday I stopped by the ninja house and proposed to Geo. Okay, now we're getting serious. I spent the whole day inside the Skull Cavern for the Hungry Challenge. This was incredibly easy thanks to the staircases I've been saving for this occasion, making it again to floor 100. I found a dark carbo hat from a treasure chest, very fancy, which I swapped out with the pink variant the next day, even fancier. Also I saw the bear while walking to Hatmouse, who was on his way out of Marnie's ranch. What's even weirder is that he talked about me getting a premium barn and that his friends could help me out on the farm? What? I have so many questions. Can I have a bear on my farm? And like, are you selling your friends to Marnie's? I'm very confused. I guess now I have to build a premium barn. At the Ridgeside special board I accepted the charity wishlist. Again. Spoilers, I wasn't able to finish it. Again. Thankfully there is no penalty for not finishing requests, so it doesn't really matter. I had brunch at the Amathon house where I met more of the family members. Althea, who is Arya's mom and also Maeve's daughter, Zachary, the second child of Maeve, father to Louis, Zane, Lorraine, and Nadaline. Are you keeping up with the lore? These are thankfully non-befriendable characters, they were just here for a visit. I already have enough people to take care of. After that I went back to Apples, where he gifted me an old bottle of Aurora Vineyard wine, which I used to create a new warp point. I contracted a second shed from the carpenter and crafted that ostrich incubator. Placed it inside the barn along with the ostrich egg. 188, I got kidnapped by Camilla, who teleported me to my own nexus. She said there is important business we have to discuss, and together we warped even further to a brand new area, the Crimson Badlands. A place where it's scorching hot by day and nights as cold as ice. Fancy way of describing a desert. Home to even more powerful and ancient monsters. I sure didn't miss this place. Camilla handed me a swirl stone and with that created another warp portal, which I think is the final one for the Nexus, but I'm not sure. I had absolutely no intentions of exploring this area just yet, that's something for later. I wanted to upgrade my trash can at the blacksmith, but it was the Ridgeside gathering, meaning that all the shops were closed. Might as well check out the festival then. I'm glad I came, as one of the stalls had a very cheap magic rock candy, mango sapling, and banana sapling. Sunday was our wedding day. I wish we had different wedding locations for Ridgeside. I think it's a bit odd that we're in Pelican Town, but nonetheless, it was a beautiful ceremony. Also for the first time, I remember to craft the bridal outfit. Can you tell I'm into tailoring? Such an underrated mechanic. Now unfortunately, I forgot that you can book a wedding reception over at the Log Cabin Hotel. I only realized that after recording this session. It's nothing crazy, but you do get to see another cutscene on your wedding day, so if you're currently playing modded as well with the Ridgeside expansion, remember to talk to Naomi before the wedding day. Just thought I'd mention that. A good chunk of the day was spent fishing, something I haven't done in quite a while. At the town river I caught the angler, over at Shearwater Bridge a wolf snapper, one of the new legendary additions, a pufferfish, and lastly a kittyfish. Monday morning I went to visit the henchman in the Witch's Swamp. As mentioned in the letter, he lost his job and is now sleeping in the dirt. I didn't know that goblins had such high standards. Since it's my fault that he lost his job, I do kinda owe him. Don't know what happened to his house, but in order to restore it, he needs a bunch of different mushrooms and swamp flowers. This seemed easy enough, and since I was curious what would happen next, I made that my task for the day. After a few in-game hours of gathering, I had everything I needed. 50 swamp flowers and a dozen of the different mushroom types. The henchman was waiting outside my house the next day, where he thanked me for fixing up his home, and told me to stop by from time to time. He is indeed a giftable NPC now. Interesting. I caught Robin on her way to aerobics class and commissioned a big shed upgrade. Back I was on beautiful Ginger Island later, where I accepted the Skull Cavern invasion from Chi. Then I was busy with fishing. Today's haul included a clownfish, bear at knifejaw, ocean sunfish, seahorse, a baby Lunaloo, and a shiny Lunaloo. Slowly filling in the fishing collection. Day number 192, I had 1 million gold casually sitting in my pockets, but not for long, as I constructed my very first obelisk that day, the one for the desert. Sadly, there aren't that many obelisk reskin mods available on Nexus, even less that include the one for Ridgeside, so for the sake of having the same skin on all of the different obelisks, I opted for Jenna's Tiny Totem obelisks, since this is the only mod that I could find that includes all of the expansion packs and is up to date for 1.6. The day was spent at the Highland area, not so much for the enemies, but for fishing and chopping hardwood. I made my way up to the mountain where I found a hidden cave behind a giant rock. Inside was tons of diamonds, diamond flowers, and fished up a diamond carp at the pond. My inventory was completely full after that, so I headed back home and before going to bed, crafted another 50 casks for the winery. Thursday morning I was prepping for a Skull Cavern run. I didn't take any ladders with me this time, yet somehow made it to floor 100 again, finishing Chi's quest. Okay, I might have crafted one staircase for a spiral floor, but that's about it. I found a ridiculous amount of Chi gems while there, almost more than I got from the quest. And with those, acquired PS Missing stock list and a Galaxy Soul. And can we just talk about the fact that I have 7 giant pumpkins on the farm now? They're taking over soon. I was back in the Highlands on 195 to face the beast that resides on the mountain. I made my way through the hordes of enemies that spawned on my way when I finally reached the top of the mountain and found a moneybag tree? What is this, Animal Crossing? The beast was already waiting for me and so the battle begun. It doesn't look much different from a regular dinosaur, but it deals a ridiculous amount of damage. Me being the noob that I am, I wasn't paying any attention to my health and passed out halfway through the fight. I mean, it was a tactical retreat, of course, to get more healing potions. I rushed back to the mountain, where I got my sweet revenge. Now that the monster was slain, I was able to free the dwarf from the cage, and he was happy to finally leave this awful cave. The last day of fall was spent on the farm. My ostrich egg was ready to hatch, and I named him Egon. Constructed a third Junimo hut, and then just stared at the winery for a good while. The season rolled around overnight, winter was here once more. I visited Krobus and handed him a void egg for his birthday, maxing out another friendship. For some reason he had the trash catalog for sale, don't mind if I do, as well as a new cooking recipe. At the special order board I accepted Sophia's fairy garden request, then planted the few powder melon seeds I had on the farm. I'm hoping to get another giant fruit to complete my army. I already had the fairy stones saved up in one of my chests, as I knew this quest was coming sooner or later. I bought the fairy seeds from Piers and dropped everything off at her farmhouse, completing the request the very same day. While there, Sophia told me about the latest batch of wine she was checking, and this was actually the last work of her parents. Turns out that Sophia's parents were involved in a terrible car accident and they both lost their lives that day. The room I found her in last time is her parents' old bedroom, but she hasn't had the strength to move out their belongings ever since they passed away, which is understandable. She took over the vineyard after the accident, since that's the only thing she has left of them. She asked if I was willing to help her restore the room, and of course I said yes. I was to come back tomorrow again, and spoilers, I immediately forgot about this cutscene, but don't worry, I'll remember eventually. Instead I visited Apples the next morning. He's been decorating the vineyard and made some new plant friends. Literally. He gifted me a few starfruit and introduced me to his new companions. We have Holly, Fig, Donna, and my favorite one is Goofy. I made my way to the Crimson Badlands, where I found a treasure chest next to the outpost that had a shop schedule inside. Interesting. Near the entrance of the desert I met Alicia and Isaac. Both are members of the Adventure Guild located in Castle Village. They warned me about the dangers that await me in the Badlands, and Isaac even said that it's okay to swallow my pride and run away. Don't worry, I will. I was just here to take a peek to see what it's like, since I have almost no memory of this place. Saying there are a lot of monsters in the Badlands would be an understatement. This is, as far as I'm concerned, the area with the toughest enemies. I did manage to collect a few new items, like Void Souls and Void Pebbles for the shipping collection, but I wasn't even here for more than 5 minutes, because once again, I passed out. Jesus Christ, I am bad at this game. You know, when I say stuff like skill issue, I'm usually joking, but I'm starting to think that I do in fact have a skill issue. I got bodied by a tiny scorpion. What's wrong with me? To take my mind off this embarrassment, I relaxed at the island farm, expanded the sprinkler layout, and accepted the 4 precious stones quest once more. On Wednesday I crafted 3 treasure totems, which I used at the mountain area in hopes of obtaining some of the artifacts that I was still missing, but I didn't get any of those. Might have also been a bad idea to do this in winter, since some of the dig spots were just forage. However, I did manage to find both of the missing dolls, thanks to the secret notes that I had. The 2 items that are missing now also have a chance of being dropped from bone nodes, so I went over to the dig site on the island. Alas, I found neither of those. All 4 of the seasonal monster fruit were ready to harvest that day, which I dropped off to Lance later in the afternoon. Day 200 is upon us, and I downloaded a new mod, another bag upgrade available at Piers. For 50,000 gold, I now have 48 inventory slots. Definitely should have installed this sooner, as this is gonna make cave diving so much more comfortable, which is what I did today. Since I need to get another 4 prismatic shards, I was busy in the Skull Cavern. The following morning, Lance greeted me outside my house. He thanked me for the monster crops that I cultivated, and he finds them most fascinating. A reward will be waiting for me at the outpost when I visit next time. I sold another batch of iridium-aged wine, then I was occupied in the Skull Cavern again, where I found another 2 prismatic shards. Dropped those off at the Walnut Room and purchased the Junimo chest from the shop. I was curious about the reward Lance mentioned, so I stopped by the outpost and I saw the dwarf that I freed from the cave a few days ago. He set up a smaller shop at the ravine where I can purchase new decorations for the house. Inside the outpost was a chest that contained a diamond wand. The description reads that it can teleport enemies away from me. I guess this could be useful in the Crimson Badlands, we'll just see. By now I had enough firewax accumulated to construct a premium coop from Robin. I saw that this was not an upgrade of an already existing coop, but a whole new building entirely, so I had to move a few things around to make enough space for it. While there, purchased the furniture catalog and the painting catalog. Currently my house interior doesn't match with Gio's spouse room at all, meaning it is time to redecorate. In a few days. I forgot to buy the room expansions from Robin before constructing the coop. Day 203 to 205 were mostly spent in the kitchen working on different cooking recipes. Other noticeable things that happened during these days: I got the starter up from Gio, and more importantly found a giant powder melon outside on the field, just as planned. I know that you can also get a giant G fruit with the latest update, but I never do that request from him, so my giant crop army is completed. I was in a fishing mood on Wednesday. At the desert pond I caught the sandfish and scorpion carp, went back to the swamp after that for a void eel, swamp crab and alligator, also said hello to the henchman while there. Near Ridge Falls I fished up a lullaby carp, and finally a cardioceptal jellyfish in the Ridge Forest. And yes, monsters will still spawn in this area even while you're reeling in the fish, so that's incredibly fun. I purchased a book of carols from Marcelo the next day. This gives me a slight discount during winter while buying from any shop owners. Today I finally remembered to visit Sophia again. I was supposed to be here a week ago, but better late than never, I guess. As promised, I helped her unpack her parents' stuff and organize the old bedroom. As a thanks, she will send me a bottle of Blue Moon wine in the mail tomorrow. After that I visited the carpenter to buy the room expansions I was talking about, since Robin was finally done with the coop construction. I did also want to get the dining room expansion, but that wasn't possible with the kitchen mod that I had installed. The next 3 in-game days were spent decorating. It's one of my favorite things to do in Stardew, and now with the new furniture catalogs from 1.6 and all of the modded ones that I have installed, this took a ridiculous amount of time. Seriously, I think I was here for 3 hours. I didn't record the entire process because I simply don't have the space for that on my PC, so I'll come back to you once I'm done.
One eternity later.
Okay, and here we are on day 211. It was tricky at first to decide with what type of wood I want to work, since the Recolor mod also changes the furniture a bit, and not all of the furniture mods work well together. I turned this room into some sort of a work area, and I think it fits well with Gio's spouse room. As you can see, we have a lot of greenery going on in the house. Rule of thumb for decorating in Stardew is to put flowers and plants everywhere. It's gonna look good, trust me. Also, the furniture catalog I got from the Stardew fair was so worth getting, as this contained bathroom furniture. I know, wild. The attic is still a bit of a work in progress, but all in all, I'm very pleased with how the house looks now. When walking outside later, I had Scarlett waiting for me. She let me know that she started working as a farmhand for the local farmers here, which I was kinda confused about because I haven't even officially met her yet, I think. I might have skipped a few cutscenes here and there, so I don't know, maybe I have met her. I harvested my ancient fruit in the community greenhouse and on the island farm. Once again I accepted Caroline's tropical island ingredient quest. Spoilers, I wasn't able to finish this again, because pineapple seeds need 14 days to grow, and that's exactly how many days I had left for that. To be prepared for the next quest, I planted the pineapple seeds that I had. Don't know why I didn't do that sooner. While at the farm, I found Lance patrolling the beach. He was impressed with my work on Ginger Island, helping the professor, repairing various structures, and of course building the beach resort. We talked about artifacts that are imbued with magic, and he showed me a blink relic, which lets me teleport while holding it. He also briefly mentioned Camilla and Castle Village, which really made me wonder if we ever get to explore Castle Village ourselves. Probably not in vanilla Stardew, but hopefully in a new mod at some point. Now that I have the premium coop, Marnie had a new animal available, a goose. Say hello to Joel and Wilhelm. At the night market I got the retro catalog from the traveling merchant and more outside decorations. 212 was pretty uneventful. I picked up the iridium trash can from Clint, which I think is the very first time ever I fully upgraded a trash can. I never bothered to do that. And I commissioned the first upgrade for the pan. Spent some time decorating the island farm. Stopped by the dig site to collect the bone notes that spawned here, and I was lucky enough to obtain the prehistoric skull, one of the 2 missing artifacts for the museum. I crafted 3 more treasure totems the next day, used them at the mountain area in hopes of getting the final artifact for the collection, but it wasn't happening. Again, maybe don't look for artifacts during winter. I've accumulated a total of 3 bananas by now, which I gifted to the monkey near Leo's hut in exchange for more walnuts. I don't know why I wrote down 3 bananas, as you can clearly see I only needed 1, but okay stuff. Also, I was here to give Leo a present. I've been kinda ignoring him ever since I came to the island. After that I had a look at the perfection tracker to see how many walnuts I'm missing. And it's not that bad, honestly. The overall perfection progress though, yeah, not even halfway there at this point. More decorating on the island farm, and in the evening I was back at the night market where I found the Junimo catalog at the merchant. The final furniture catalog I was after. With that finished decorating the attic the following morning. Upon checking my mailbox, I received a very interesting letter from the Curio Collectors Society of Ferngill, who wishes to formally recognize my outstanding collection of rare and unique home decor by extending an official membership. I thought at first this was something like the Happy Home Academy from Animal Crossing, where you actually get a rating for your house interior. But once I collected the membership, it said that there is now a new catalog available from Robin. Of course I had to check that out immediately, and there it is, the collector's catalog. I'm currently saving up for another obelisk, but this wasn't expensive at all, so I purchased it, and it seems like this is a collection of all of the different catalogs in the game. To me this is kinda useless, as I have the Home Designer mod installed, which makes decorating super easy anyways, but it's still nice to have. I spent some time in the regular mines working on a few Monster Slayer goals, when I remembered the cave in the highland area where I found the dwarf had lots of enemies in, which was just the ones I was looking for. So that's where I continued my slaughtering. After a little while I completed the Slayer goal for bats and shadow creatures. On Friday I visited the Crimson Badlands outpost. Isaac was here today, who had a smaller shop with a few interesting items, like the Tempered Galaxy Sword for a meager 500,000 gold. Now that's outrageous. It does do a little bit more damage than the regular Galaxy Sword I have, but yeah, that's not worth the money at the moment. I did buy 1 hero elixir from him, and I was kinda tempted to buy the Night Boots because of their great defense, but again I'm currently saving up for another project. I came prepared with 1 Marsh Tonic, a present from the henchman, which buffed my attack and defense greatly, and slowly made my way through the harsh desert environment. The main reason I came here today for was to fish. Yes, you heard that correctly. There's 2 new species I can catch at this smaller pond, and I have to rant for a little bit here. I absolutely despise these areas where you have to fish while getting swarmed by enemies. It is beyond irritating, and fishing is supposed to be relaxing after all. At least give me iframes while I'm reeling in the fish. That's all I want. Okay, rant over. Somehow I did manage to catch the undead fish, and thanks to the OP ice rod that I had on me, holding the serpent at bay, I also fished up the bonefish. Thank you very much, never again. I tried to summon Roach here since I thought it would be easier to navigate this massive area on horse, but you're not allowed to do that. This gave me flashbacks when the Elden Ring DLC released, coming to the Abyssal Woods for the first time and you had to traverse the entire area on foot because you couldn't summon Torrent because he was too afraid. No? Just me? Well, anyways, I ventured deeper into the Badlands, walking past massive bones and skeletal remains when I stumbled upon the Iridium Quarry, filled with even tankier enemies. Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna be on my way. Once my buffs ran out, I teleported back home. I am not messing around in this area. 216, I remembered that the wizard told me that I could back to Umui whenever I wanted to, so that's how I spend my day. Once there I saw Lunna with her little sister Diana. I guess this is how Lunna looked before she turned human. Speaking about humans, I met Raphael and Bianca, 2 wizards that have been trapped in Umui for a few years now. But like, guys, the portal is right here. I gathered all the new forage in the area, as well as the new fish, to fill up the collection tab. Bought new seeds and fruit saplings from this friendly shadow man. Now unfortunately for me, both Raphael and his sister Bianca and even Diana are all NPCs to befriend. Why? Just to clarify, I don't mind playing with 100 different NPCs, but when they get introduced so late into the game, I'm just not that invested anymore. I know in this case it's kind of my own fault, as I could have visited Omui a lot sooner, but yeah, I wasn't too excited about this. Anyways, the new seeds were planted inside Grandpa's shed and the fruit saplings in the greenhouse next to the coffee plants. Sunday it is, you know what that means, trading my jade at the desert trader and also a few gold bars this time for golden carrot seeds. I finished another Skull Cavern invasion quest that day, which I accepted a while ago. Once again, this was no problem at all, thanks to the abundance of staircases I had with me, and it's really nice to be back in an area where enemies don't two-shot me. On 218 I had plans to build the island obelisks on my farm, but I completely missed that you need a total of 10 dragon teeth for that. And currently I only had like 2, so that's not gonna happen anytime soon. Instead I constructed the water obelisk. For the cheat gems I got yesterday, I unlocked the heavy tapper and hyper speed grow crafting recipe. I was in the volcano for most of the day looking for dragon teeth, though of course I had no luck with that. On the plus side, I bought the pink bow from the dwarf, which I gave to Roach, which is possibly the best decision I have made up until this point. It fits perfectly, and now we have matching outfits. Day 219 I traded 30 bone fragments to this sad looking bird for the banana pudding recipe. Over at the dig site I found the final item for the museum, the amphibian fossil. Now I don't have to worry about that anymore, and then I was back in the volcano. Today's search was a lot more successful than yesterday's. I found 3 dragon teeth just laying on the ground on the very same floor, the dragon scale boots inside a rare volcano chest, and enchanted my fishing rod. After a few attempts I got the mastery enchantment, which is exactly what I wanted, and I left the island with a total of 6 dragon teeth. Wednesday morning I checked up on my animals and I saw that the geese have grown up by now, meaning I can collect geese eggs every other day. I had to spend a little bit of money on a few stacks of hay at Marnie's, then dropped off the amphibian fossil at the museum, getting the complete collection achievement. And of course, the star drop from Gunther. Commissioned a gold pan from Clint, crafted 35 more kegs for the second wine shed, and was busy at the farm in the evening. And we're skipping right ahead to the final day of the season. To summarize the past 3 days, I was mostly working in the mines, where I finished another Danger in the Deep quest from Mr. Chi. I visited Gunther at the museum again, where everyone in Pelican Town was looking at the complete collection. I really enjoyed this cutscene, this should be in Vanilla Stardew as well. Also, I didn't record this, but Gunther gifted me a Galdoran gem, and I have no idea what to do with this. So if any of you guys know if this item has a use, then please leave a comment down below. And lastly, the henchman almost killed me. Yep, he made a void mayo sandwich for me and I was dumb enough to eat it. Now that I think about it, it's more my fault than his. And yeah, that does it for year number 2 of the Stardew Valley Mega Modded run. I think I had even more fun this time than in the first year, and I hope you guys did as well. Thank you so much for the support on the first 100 days video, by the way. I always love reading you guys' comments, and I read every single one, by the way, so don't be shy. I still have so much to do in this game, and I doubt I can already reach perfection next year, but that's definitely going to be the focus, getting the remaining obelisks and cooking recipes. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.